Ladies, gentlemen, and Mrs., good evening once again. Good evening to all. You are once again welcome here on your beloved platform, the platform for awakening consciousness. This is the headline of international news. China is very, very angry. China is very upset with the United States of America and with all the countries that are colluding with the United States of America. China no longer wants to tolerate anyone. The Chinese, who by nature and essence are always calm, have decided to step up, to show America that it is powerless, and also to demonstrate to the world that any country that tries to support America against China will find itself facing China. China has no fear, no apprehension about this. Where does it all start? We all saw here it's the United States of America that started the provocation against China. They started provoking China. And as if this commercial provocation wasn't enough, they pushed Zelensky to provoke China through this issue of Chinese fighting at the Ukrainian front line on behalf of and for Russia. Zelensky said he insisted he even captured soldiers who only speak Chinese. But if we're not careful, we might indeed think that China is involved. However, in reality, these people are free. It's like here with us. Someone can get up tomorrow, go to Ukraine or go to Russia, when he himself meets the recruitment conditions to go fight on the side of Ukraine under the conditions of Russia, but this person will be integrated. If this person is integrated into the Russian paramilitaries to go to the front, is it with the agreement of the Chinese government? Can we therefore implicate the Chinese government? An agreement that was concluded in the absence of the Chinese government and is being executed without the Chinese government being informed. Why can we hold the Chinese government responsible? Here is the question that arises. But the essential question is, what has China declared regarding these misunderstandings? The major crisis between it and America. Let's delve deeper, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, share this video conference, share it as widely as possible in all groups. So, China promises countermeasures against those who support the United States of America's isolation policy. America wants to isolate China and other countries around the world. All countries, anyone who will support the United States of America's isolation policy. China promises countermeasures. Well then, we already wonder what the content of these countermeasures is. What will it serve? What will these countermeasures focus on? So, what must first be noted is that China rarely speaks like this. Very rarely does China speak this way. And so, China firmly opposes any party concluding an agreement with the United States of America to the detriment of China's interests. If this happens, it will not accept it. Here is what was stated, as reported on CNBC, which cites the Chinese Ministry of Commerce. So, it is the Chinese Ministry of Commerce that warns any country that will sign an agreement with the United States of America, knowing that this agreement will affect China's interests. That country will receive countermeasures from China. These are the countries that China is talking about. What should also be added is that this warning comes as the Trump administration was considering using tariff negotiations to pressure US allies to reduce their relations with China. That was Donald Trump's plan. You know, Donald Trump was considering using tariff negotiations to pressure his allies to reduce their relations with China. You know, when Donald Trump took those customs measures, he thought he was benefiting the American economy. But since then, it's the American economy that has been declining, and China is positioning itself in the global market with a very strong position. So China's new position suits China's interests. And beyond that, in the United States of America, there are people who have come out, experts who have come out to mock, even Democrats who have come out to mock the policies of Donald Trump's administration. They said that Donald Trump was helping China, and that all the work Donald Trump did, increasing tariffs, etc., the positive result, all of that benefited China. How so? Because it pushed other markets to be wary of the United States of America. And so, nature abhors a vacuum. In the absence of the sea, one makes do with the great sea. Thus, other European countries and others turned towards China, which allowed the growth figures of Chinese trade to increase in the blink of an eye. And this is what scares and greatly bothers Donald Trump. Donald Trump has therefore decided to adopt a new strategy. That is to say, all the allies who are severely affected by the tariffs, he invites them if they express the desire. Since, at the moment we speak, many are already expressing the desire. So, Donald Trump wants to negotiate with them. And in the negotiation agreements, they must reduce their relations, these European countries and others who are affected by the American tariffs. In their negotiation, it will be written that these different entities or these different states must reduce their relations with China, not to say that these states must stop buying even industrial equipment with China. So this is the strategy that Donald Trump is implementing. But China stands up to say any state that will sign such an agreement with the United States of America to the detriment of how do you say, of China. China will apply countermeasures so that the message is very clear. So what else is happening? International trade could be threatened if it turns into a law of the jungle. Here is what the Chinese Ministry of Commerce had to add. It says, international trade could be threatened if it turns into a law of the jungle. So then, here is how China responds to America. And so, ladies and gentlemen, we will continue to follow this news. Everything that will result from this, we will come back to discuss here on the platform for raising awareness. Thank you all very much. I will be back with you shortly. This was the voice of your one and only samurai.